I really, I love this group and everything that you guys do and stand for, and I support so much of what happens here. Just a quick introduction. My name is Jodie Anderson, and I'm the director of the UAF Matanuska Experiment Farm and Extension Center. And we're located in Palmer, Alaska. We have been around since 1917, so that's kind of cool. Um, and I've lived here in Alaska for 16 years, and all 16 years I've been connected to Alaskan agriculture and natural resources work, whether through research or outreach or education. And so um, when Robbie and I first started talking about this, um, we talked about having just a short presentation, and then it turned into, hey, I think this is a really good opportunity. Sorry. Thanks, Michelle. Anyway, it's okay. It's okay. um, anyway, what we decided to do is really have this kind of this opportunity to help each other out, to kind of come together. And so the title of this is it's long and clunky. We tried to get as many words in as we could, and I think we did a good job. But what I really want to focus on is this idea of togetherness. And if you guys have been with us the last 2 days, or even just a couple days or a couple sessions today, you've heard the concept of togetherness, of together, we're going to do this, we're going to work on this, collaborate, we're going to do these things. That's really what we're talking about here today, and wrapping up this conference. So for those of us who do these presentations a lot, not this particular presentation, but just present in general a lot, always at the bottom or on all the slides, you've got all of your sponsorships and who's what. I feel like I'm a NASCAR driver sometimes, but like who you're representing and who's part of this and that. And so, of course, I have to tip my hat to the fact that I am UAF faculty or staff member, and that I do also work as cooperative extension. But then I decided the reality of things is that I'm also an Alaskan, and I use food all the time. I'm kind of into it, and I'm a consumer. And so I threw those things at the bottom because this is really what's going to bring us together, all of us together. We're all Alaskans. And I really, Kaylee had an opportunity. She didn't get to uh, make her statement at the end of the last presentation that Heidi gave, but she typed it into the box. She and I were privately talking. Sorry, Kaylee, I'm gonna just tell everybody we were talking privately, because none of the rest of us have done that the rest of the conference at all. But one thing she said is that this is an opportunity for us to break out of our kind of the old things, of the stagnant things, of things that maybe didn't work. It's time to find new ways. And I really like that she said that we are inventive and that we're going to figure this out. And that's the absolute darn truth. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to figure this out together. And that's where we are. That's the huge theme today. If you guys heard yesterday, there was a huge theme yesterday. And I really, it's kind of funny the way that I developed this presentation. I actually did it before this morning, which was pretty exciting. But at the same time, I really think what's important is not so much togetherness that we're moving forward, but I think we need to celebrate our togetherness as well. And what I mean by that is to go forward. Agriculture in Alaska is a magical thing right now. And we've seen the statistics, and we've looked at some really sweet graphics, and we've talked about it. We're all in this game. I joke that, you know, can I be in this association because I don't run a farmer's market and I don't even sell at a farmer's market, but I support a farmer's market. We're all in this game together, and that's critical. So I just wanted us to start out with knowing this togetherness, right? We're in this all at the same time. But then I know this is so funny. It's the third time you guys have seen these statistics. So guess what? They're really critical. But the theme that I want to talk about with these statistics, and I'm not going to go into these because we've seen them, I really just want us to remember we didn't get to these really cool graphics and these really amazing numbers in the ag statistics had we not worked together. It was because we were working together as a group, as a conglomerate, as an entity, that this stuff happened. I mean, you guys, those of you who were in Homer last year, you remember what last year was like when we were all struggling and trying to figure out, well, if they get rid of the division of ag, what's going to happen? And the thing that I remember the most is this group, AFMA stepped up and was like, well, we can take on X, Y, and Z. And it was going to happen. So this was going to move forward no matter what. And you know, the budget worked out. You guys advocated, we all advocated, we got our communities to advocate because we did this together. Also, this is our end goal. It's hunger. This is really where we're at. All of us are striving to reduce all of these numbers or to increase these numbers depending on if the number's a good number or a bad number, of course. But really the critical point here is that what we want to do is all of us are working toward this. If you're a market manager, if you're a producer, if you are a vendor of a cottage, you know, of a cottage food or a value added food, all of us, if you're just a purchaser, all of us are doing this because we want these numbers to be better. We want Alaska to be better. We want to feed us. We want that 95% to just change. And I appreciated a lot of the comments in the comment box when previously today, when the number, that percentage, that 95% came up in the conversation during the AFMA meeting at noon. I think that 95% probably is a different number in lots of different places across the state. I think that's, well, I know that number is also just kind of a number. But with our reliance on subsistence that we have. And so this isn't just about what comes out of the field, it's what comes to our tables through fishing, through hunting, all the things. And so with looking at that, let's see, I don't know why you don't like me anymore. So for whatever reason, what's happened? There we go. Okay, I don't know what just happened, but anyway, so I spoke to Robbie a little bit a couple months ago. We were talking about food system models in Alaska, and if there is one, in fact. And so we talk about food security a lot. You hear that term a lot. I don't like using that term, and I know right now at this point you're like, what? Jodie, come on! It's all about food security right now. Well, guess what? It is about food security, but no, it's not. It's about strengthening our food system. That's what it's about. And here's my argument. And y'all can fight me. That's fine. It doesn't bother me at all because I'm pretty tough. I'm scrappy. I can't run, but I can fight okay. But my argument is this. Every human on this chat right now, on this conference, all 69 of us, have a different definition of what food security is. Some of us, it's very political. Some of us, it's very personal. My definition is different than Evelyn's because Evelyn lives in New Haven and I live in Palmer. And both of these definitions are right for us individually. But to look at us as really part of a food system is what is how we're going to cover these bases. This is the message that we can send to everyone in the state. If you talk to some guy, and I'm just not making fun of guys, but come on, really, guys, let's, you talk to some dude in Anchorage, he weighs he's 22 years old, and you ask him what his definition of food security is, and he's going to tell you that when he goes to the store, he hopes that he can buy the food that he needs. There's where it is. And you're like, well, but what about food security for the rest of Alaska? What about when the boats don't come in? And it's really easy for him to say, that's not my fault. I'm not part of that. I just eat stuff. I just buy what's at the store. He's not a participant in food security because he has the money he needs. He goes to the store and he buys the food that he wants. But in fact, if we approach that same dude, 22-year-old in Anchorage, and say, what role do you play in this food system? He sees that even though that there are only 5 of these pieces, he's part of this somehow. He's a consumer. And as a consumer, he plays a role. Just like all of us play a role in this system. Wherever you live in the state, we're part of it. So I argue that we use the term food systems only because it takes the politics out of it. It takes wherever you're located out of it. It takes the us versus them, rural versus urban, road system, off-road system, all those things. It takes right out of the picture. And we're able to talk about food system strength. And with a strong food system, as we heard from DEC earlier, that One Health concept, that's exactly what this is. It's One Health. When the food system is strong in a community, and that community has strength in that food system, other stuff just kind of bounces off. And they become more resilient to change. They're able to handle shifts. But if your food system has not got that intrinsic strength to it, then what you end up with is you end up with gaps. You end up with areas where we can fix it. And so just to highlight, when we talk about food systems, we're talking about the production of food, the processing of food, getting the food where it needs to be, the actual consumption and access, the purchasing, the actual market location, how we're going to do things, and then waste and recovery. All of this is part of our food system, and that's what we're really, really focusing on. And so as we talk today about brainstorming, I want us to keep in mind this idea of being part of the food system. And within the food system, each one of these 5 components is supported by all of these pieces that are kind of falling underneath. This is kind of the scaffolding that the food system is based on. And this is where we also come in, because this is where our policy comes in. We talk about equity, which hasn't been a big discussion today because there's a lot of other stuff on our minds. We talk about education. There's been a lot of conversation about how do we let people know that their food is safer coming from our markets than it is possibly at a grocery store, where how many people have handled that grocery store vegetable before that person buys it in the grocery store versus Anne Kareen cuts a stalk of celery out of her field and sells the celery directly to that person. That's one hand that's touched it before it gets to the consumer versus how many hands, how many sneeze, like, oh, how much of that went on in that food process when it gets sent to us from the distribution centers wherever, right? This is the education that we have to do. This is what we're talking about, this concept of wellness. This is huge. This is big picture wellness. Our environment, we're still working on it. Thankfully, knock wood, we're good with water, right? As soon as that, all of those things, everything here is connected. And as we well know, the one at the bottom is kind of the one that's driving a lot of our conversations right now, which is the economy, right? But when there's a tweak in any of these pieces, it affects the system itself. So that's kind of the foundation that I want to base with you. And this brainstorming here, this is really what I want to focus on, is this brainstorm concept. So if you guys will bear with me for just a sec, I'm going to share with you, like, how do we brainstorm, Jodie? Come on, seriously. There's 4,000 people online right now, and all of us have ideas, and all of us are really passionate. Every single one of you in this place right now, all 68, all of us are here because we love what we do. We have ideas. We want to support each other. We want to support ourselves. We want to improve the food system that we're part of. And I get that. And I so appreciate that, which is why this group is so powerful. Look what just happened. I mean, you guys just got DEC to say this is essential. What? That's so huge, you guys. You guys did this. This group did this. And so there's no way that I'm going to be able to get all of us to be like, okay, let's just go slowly and one at a time. You get 2 seconds to say a thing. That's not going to work at all. Okay? That's not it at all. So what I'm going to do is, in the chat box, I'm sharing with everyone now that there is a Google document and it's a spreadsheet. So what that spreadsheet looks like, beep, 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 and I'm going to show you. No, I'm not. Just a second. Yes, I am. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here with the spreadsheet. Nope. What? No, don't save it. Just go away. What? Go away. Okay. Screen sharing, stop. I know, because I closed the window because you were bugging me, idiot. Oh, stupid. Okay. Now I'm back to where I want to be. Okay. You guys just deal with it, okay? Like, this is what this is paid professional facilitation right here. No, I'm not
Jodie,
paid.
can you tell us where we're going? Are we all trying to navigate to this shared spreadsheet so that we can all write into it?
Yep. If you guys would do me a huge favor, and if you would go to, oh, that's not what I want either. Just a sec. I can't find it. Just a sec.
Hey, Jodie, just an FYI, it's currently in view only. I don't know if that's on purpose to keep us from attacking, but
You have to change the sharing settings.
The spreadsheet's in view only?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't mean for it to be in. No, it's actually, it should be there. I saw lots of people in it just a second ago.
We're in it. It just, we can't edit it because it's only, the permissions only view only.
Hey, I'll fix, Jodie, I'll fix it for you. I'm have it open. It's fine.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so wow, that's hilarious. I'm sorry.
I just thought you were keeping us wrangled.
No, well, I mean, actually, yeah, but not really on purpose. I just did it that way because that was silly. So let me see if I can actually pull it up this time. Why are you
guys refresh the page and it should be editable now?
Yeah, sweet. Thank you, Robbie. Saving my butt once again. Robbie likes my butt. I appreciate the fact she do. Oh, I'm still mic'd. Oh, my. So if you guys will just cut and paste that link into your browser window, and I don't know why it's not liking me. Let's get rid of that. Boom. Now I think it's gonna work. And I'm just gonna share. Oh, this idiot. Why am I not? Deal with it. Just deal with it, everybody. Deal with it. Okay. So you do that. And I'm just trying to share the editable worksheet, but you guys can all see the spreadsheet. You get a Google info page. Sorry, Charles. Hey, someone wrote something. There's an anonymous anteater in here.
Jodie, do you want me to share it on my screen? Are you having problems with that, or?
Yeah, I don't know why it's just not, it's not sharing for me.
I got you, girl.
All right, thank you, darling. I appreciate you. Thanks, Robbie. Thank you, dear. So what you guys will notice is that there are actually 5 tabs at the bottom, and there are 4 questions. So I really like people are already putting stuff in. So if we could start with the first question, and just go ahead and refresh. If you get in and just type away and really just let it go. Let's figure this out, and do know that these are all wrap text pieces, so don't think that you've only got that much space. Just keep typing and it'll wrap around and around for those of you who enjoy writing dissertations, because some of you do. So the first question is, what do our Alaska markets and producers need to succeed this year? And that's the question. So you guys are gonna write a bunch of ideas in there. And yeah, just, this is the sort of thing where we're just gonna try to figure out. I love the fact that we need good weather. Money for safety equipment and education is really good piece. Clear communication to the public on behalf of all the markets. Stronger arguments to the state and to the munis that flour and other non-food items are essential parts of our markets. I really think that's true. I think that Kyra had a really good example or an idea regarding that, in that our messaging be Alaska grown products or Alaska or agricultural products, and not just focus on ag and things that are grown and that sort of thing. These are huge. This is really good stuff, you guys. And I know some of you guys are going to be jumping around, but if we could kind of all stay together with one, that would be awesome. Yeah, and I don't disagree. Barbara's asking if this works with those with Macs. It should, because it's a Google document. And so it's just shared on the Google Cloud. So I think you should be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm on a Mac and it's working fine.
Cool. I know there are other Mac geeks out there, which is cool. These are good things, you guys. These are really good things. And so what I want us to do is I want us to take like 2 more seconds. Not 2 seconds, but just kind of start wrapping up your ideas. This is a living document, so please feel free to add to it as we continue our conversation. But you know, we've got, as long as you guys want, we can sit on this. But you know, I think that this is a really good opportunity for us to figure out what this is. We had a food chat. Palmer has a food chat every Friday, and last Friday we did it virtually. It was the first virtual food chat, which was really interesting. And the greatest part was about the virtual food chat is that we were able to connect with others around the state. And one of the coolest things that happened in that was we were able to connect with Kyra and Heidi and gosh, I hope I don't forget people, but and then Ann Kareen was there. It's local, but I mean, she got a chance to participate. It was a really great food chat, and we were talking about who is going to lead this, who is going to answer these questions, who's going to move this conversation of food production in Alaska forward, who is doing this. And Kyra, in her amazing and incredible wisdom, said that there isn't any one thing, there's not any one entity that's bubbling to the surface saying, here's what it is, here's what's happening, let's go this way. But instead, we're going to rely on those of us who are around the state, who have those who are doing stuff already. So it's not necessarily, you know, any one group, but it's those who can move things forward. And it's the personalities that we all know and appreciate that are going to be doing this. And we're all sitting in this room together, you guys. That's the best part, is that this is moving forward because of the work that you're doing, and that your recommendations are the things that will be moving in addition, which is amazing. Yeah, traditional foods is awesome. Sharing infrastructure. I think that there's a great opportunity with the mini grants that the Division of Ag will be rolling out in the fall time. And I don't know if you guys realize that there's an opportunity for collaboration in those mini grant applications. An individual can apply for it, but they can be stacked. And so there, you know, an opportunity arises that you, in your community, there may be a need for cold storage or some shared infrastructure. It's all, the grants are called food security development, so we'll deal with that terminology, but that's fine. The idea is getting money into communities to help them buffer, to help support their food system, their local food system. And you guys, you can stack these. So if you have if you live on the coast and you have an entity that's fishing and an entity that's growing food, and you've got an entity that's distributing food, like a food bank type idea, all three of those can independently stack that grant and work toward getting more money for a bigger thing that's a shared piece of infrastructure. So there are opportunities there. I want to like the comment, Barbara. Barbara said, to the extent possible, and if all Alaska farmers markets adopt the standards set by the state farmers market group, there should be consistency. That might take some legislative work as it pertains to those doing business in Anchorage. Yep. Good deal. Sarah has local cider. Well, enjoy, Sarah. Thanks for what you do. We appreciate you. So, Robbie, what do you, yeah, we've kind of trickled down here. Is there anything that's like sticking out that's amazing that we haven't really, that there's some stuff we haven't talked about?
I think there's been some good comments about how food security or whatever we're calling it looks different for every community, especially our more rural Alaska Native communities too. I think those are definitely great considerations for sure.
Absolutely. Cool. So let's move to question 2. You can stay in question 1 if you're still typing, if you want to think, but
Jodie, I'm gonna jump in here real quick.
Yeah, please, Kyla.
One of the things that also came up several times in that first one was the idea of making sure that our customers feel confident in markets. And I think having that unified messaging we'll be able to hopefully head off some of the crap that Sarah had to deal with. We saw how painful that was. So hopefully working together, we can really do that.
I like that idea a lot. Yeah, that's super cool. So the resources, this question number 2. So those of us who've worked in Alaska for a few years know that everybody feels that their situation is unique and amazing, and they want to do it their way, regardless of what it says or what's already out there. When I first moved up here, I worked with mini grant programs for rural science teachers, and they all wanted to create their own salmon curriculum. And I was like, really? Like, salmon curriculum, holy geez. Like, there's a million salmon curricula out there, and all you have to do is take the one you like the most and tweak it and make it yours. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And guys, we don't have time to reinvent the wheel. And so what we want to do is we want to, ooh, I like that idea, Michelle, too, by the way. That's a super cool idea. It's in the chat box. Michelle's talking about a graphic. I think that sounds cool. But question number 2 really is are there resources already out there somewhere? And if so, what are they and where are they? And this is, I think this is kind of, Grace's presentation was fantastic. And it was super, she was asking for, I'm not sure about this stuff. And so there were great ideas that came from that about ways to collaborate. And if Washington State Farmers Market Association, Minnesota's Farmer Market Association already has developed some of this stuff, you know, let's go for it. Let's get it and start with it, and then move on from there and figure out like how to Alaskanize it.
And that, Jodie, that's something that Brad and I have been working on, and we've been, if you go to our Farmers Market Association page,
yes,
we have all of those resources, and that's what we used with the DEC to come up with these recommendations. So really great point, Jodie.
Yep. And that's what I think we need. This is what we need to do is that we need to rely on all of our different worlds that we're all part of, and use each other as much as we possibly can. I mean, yeah, there's some amazing stuff that's already out there, and we can use it. Cornell University is doing great things right now in response to what their state's going through as well. And their cooperative extension service is really pushing out some good stuff.
Jodie, I wanted to point out one thing on this question 2, tab 2, or line 2. This is a link to a spreadsheet that the Food Policy Council has been working on for the last 3 weeks. So it's by no means complete, but we just noticed lots of organizations throwing lots of information out, and we just wanted to compile it. By no means do you have to use it, but we've been just directing all of these things that are coming in. It's not a pretty spreadsheet, but it's functional. So
right on.
all you guys can add stuff to it too.
Great. I just glanced over at the small novella that Reptar that just put in, which is fantastic. And she's talking a little bit about the infrastructure issue. Yeah. There's some really good things that she brings up in there too. Oh yeah, good. Tia, the native knowledge nutrition. Yes, that's very good. Traditional foods nutrition page is a good one. Yeah, very good. Sweet. And so, yeah, someone make sure to chuck cooperative extension in there for me too, because I'm not at it. But these are the sort of things that this is part of that, the education scaffolding, right? I mean, this is what we want to do, and we want to do this smartly, but we also want to do it relatively quickly. We don't have to have a new wheel. We can just, what was it, put studs on it and make it Alaskan. And I think that's what we need to do with all of this. That's a good point, Kyra. Good point. Cool. And so as you guys learn more or find more resources or pop stuff up, then the COVID-19 response resources page on AFMA's website is a really good one too. So can we go to question 3?
I'm just going to point out that if anybody here has anything they want to add, if they stumble across things for that AFMA webpage that you would like to see put on there, send it to Robbie or Heidi or me. We can get it up there.
Right on. Thanks, guys, for doing that. I appreciate it. So how can we help? And so by we, I mean the royal we, those of us who are sitting here, the 62 of us sitting here with wider butts than we had yesterday, earlier in the day. But it's all for a good cause. It's all for a good cause. And I really think that, yeah. And then if you can also think kind of larger than just the we that's sitting here, but of the connections that we represent as well in this room. So I'll just throw myself out there, like, how can UAF and specifically how can the farm help? What can we do in terms of outreach and research that needs to happen that we can handle that would help? There are a lot of different entities sitting in this room right now that, we have different hats, but there's a hat, the Alaska Food Policy Council. How can they help? Good call. How can Cook Inlet Keeper help? I don't know. How can the Alaska Marine or Alaska, Marine Coalition? No. What is it?
Council.
Thanks. Sorry. Yes. How can we get our fish people in this? How can they help? Yeah, I mean, how can all these groups help? What can we do to share? These are super good things. How can the seed guys help? It's a great question, Leah. I think that, there are some of you guys who are doing it for profit. I mean, and I know how hard it is to get the seed saved to grow enough and do that sort of thing. But you know, of course we want you guys to help, but you know, you also have a livelihood as well. But how can the seed guys help? I mean, there's, you know, not everybody is their own seed collector. And so what do you think, Leah? I mean, I'm totally putting you on the spot because I just happened to see you there. And I also didn't text you, so sorry about that. And you know, Leah's been teaching a lot of stuff online recently about how to save seed, and it's awesome. And so that's Found Root, and they're out of Haynes. That's a really cool group that could certainly help.
Could I talk real quick?
Yeah, please.
Sorry. Hi guys, my name's Leah. I own a small seed company in Haines, Alaska. It was just easier for me to say it than type it all. I don't know how we can help. We're kind of parallel to this. We are trying to empower people to grow their own food. We are market gardeners and seed growers, but we still source the majority of our seed because seed growing is a really slow proposition, as Jodie was mentioning. And so we are trying to provide free educational resources. That's part of our business model for our customers. And so we're really active on social media, and we're trying to do an even better job. So if you want to use our material, please feel free to share it. We also give a lot of donations, like if you're having a silent auction or something like that, like people like seeds. So we're happy to donate. And you know, we're looking for more connection too. So if you have like a gardening group that's also part of your farmers market, usually in smaller places, those things are quite connected. We're always finding customers that want to connect to those organizations. And that's something that we're also trying to put together right now. And most of our customers are not going to grow all their own food. And so we're a huge proponent of supplementing with Alaska grown and budgeting for that. And we've been wholly participating in like the integration of COVID-19 in our messaging. And so, and we're an online business. So if you have any questions about that, you can reach out to us. I can throw my email down. So I think those are a couple ways.
Thanks, Leah. I appreciate you and Nick and the work that you guys do. And that's awesome. Thank you. You know, I want to go to a comment that Misty made at the beginning of her conversation, her presentation today, her lovely floral presentation today. And she talked about the article that the Palmer farmers are experiencing, you know, super crazy demands. And that's fantastic. If you are so lucky to have that much storage that you've got that much left over. And we've seen the statistics time and time again from, thank goodness, Amy makes cool graphics, so we all steal them and share them with everybody, the exact same ones over and over. But maybe you've remembered something from them because you've seen them so many times. The really important thing to keep in mind is that so many of our producers are small scale. They're on less than 9 acres of land. There is no way they're going to have the storage facility capability to carry Alaska through an entire winter until we can get them again on the backside. And so, I mean, it's fantastic. I'm so stoked that people are finally paying attention to food security. Like the earthquake didn't matter. No one cared about food systems and strong food systems then. You know, a truck ran into a bridge in Eagle River that stopped traffic between Anchorage and everywhere else north. Yeah, people were like, wow, that's stupid. That's horrible. But no one paid attention to food systems at that time. I mean, like, come on, guys, someone's got to pay. And now they're paying attention. And people are starting to go, wow, Alaska grown is a really big deal. Bryce Wrigley is selling tons and tons of barley, couscous, all of the stuff from his Alaska Flour Company now. Because people are like, whoa, flour's off the shelf. I better get some oh, I can get this stuff and it's Alaska grown, which is all fantastic and amazing. But the reality is that we can't respond that quickly to something like this. We have to ramp up to respond to something this big, and we're not there yet. But by people noticing, by us educating them about the importance of agriculture and building this system, this food system stronger, we're gonna be ready for the next one. And I think this is, what many of us have been saying is that, yeah, we're worried financially, economically, what's hitting our families, what's gonna happen down the way. But at the same time, this is a great opportunity for us to be like, dudes, we've been yelling this forever and you're finally listening to us. Start putting some money behind the system. Start supporting agriculture so that we can support all of us. That's where we're at right now. And it's awesome that we can move forward and have farmers who are getting like crazy demands for sales right now. And that's true. That is true. Dulcie's saying, not everyone will go to markets. Grocery stores are still a vehicle for selling Alaska grown produce and will be needed. And that's exactly right. And the Division of Agriculture has been working with the box stores to figure out pathways for sales. And that's important. As soon as you start talking about, aligning with a grocery store, now you're at a scale that most of our growers can't hit. I mean, a store isn't gonna, put all their eggs in one basket. Sorry. Oh my gosh, that was so funny, you guys. That was good. You guys didn't like that? Come on. All their eggs in one basket? Robbie made a silly face. All right, and then the fourth question is, who is the we? Who are working together? What's happening? What's going on in our communities? What's happening? I love the fact that everyone is listed. Oh, Donna Ray. I love you, Donna Ray. That was a yoke. Thank you very much. Anyway, what we need to think about is that the we is everyone, but how do we us get the we everyone involved? How does that happen? So Jeremy is saying that he's got comment only permissions in the sheet. Oh, I'm sorry. That's weird. He's going to put this in the how we can help item here. Edible Alaska could design, print, and distribute inserts or bound in messages, infographics, maps, etc. in cooperation and partnership with AFMA, individual markets and farms et al., targeted toward consumers to help educate and build demand. We can also single boost online and various platforms. That's awesome. So Jeremy, maybe hit refresh. That might work. Michelle's in all caps. She's screaming. I think that, yeah, stimulus funds. Good luck.
This is Kyra. In my work with public health down here, I've seen that the emergency centers that are all around the state that are helping organize hospitals and their public health systems, because it's a state of emergency, they have specific supplies being shipped very specifically for hospitals, right? So any activity that's for the health of the public right now is subsidized. And now that we are an essential service, it might be possible for us to have access to things like sanitation supplies, like all the stuff that we're trying to order online and can't find supplies of. It might be possible to get a hold of masks and rubber gloves and things like that. So maybe AFMA can look into that. Just that.
So Kyra, with that in mind, are you thinking like AFMA would be the entity that would purchase this wad of stuff and then distribute it out to the markets that are in need of it, that sort of thing?
I don't know if Robbie is up for that kind of facilitation, but it would be easier, I imagine, if a unified group or a unified voice, one person went and tried to speak with Robbie knows Lauren Carroll down here, trying to speak with our public health system rather than a whole bunch of people trying to enter it.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Kyra and I can handle that.
And I think maybe more of a, we organize the purchases, one unified voice, but individual purchases. But I do think that's a role for AFMA.
Yeah.
And I think that's the sort of thing, I mean, maybe I'm just speaking out of the side of my very wide butt right now, but, and I do, so you know me, but at the same time, maybe this is the sort of thing that I can, like, we wrap up this in about the next couple minutes, and then maybe I'm gonna just put the board on the spot who are here and maybe see what you guys' thoughts are. You guys, if you can just scroll through this brainstorm and think about kind of the low-hanging fruit, the immediate things that we all can kind of chew on, that AFMA can move forward with, and that we can all kind of like, yeah, and kind of rally behind as we move forward when we leave this. Because what we don't want is, like every other conference, is when we leave, we walk away and we walk away. So
yeah, I think one thing coming out of this format that AFMA ought to do is monthly membership, or at least you don't have to be a member, but it'd be great if you were. But just come and we'll pick different topics. I was already texting with Lorenda today about getting a joint webinar on looking at these market safety things that we need to do now. So having and recording that and just creating more resources, and yeah, that's one thing that we should do immediately. And then also keeping, someone else brought a great point up earlier today, these organizations that are working on food security stuff just do a better job talking to each other and collaborating, things like that.
yeah, that's a tough bit. I totally, yeah. How do we do that, Robbie? Like, how do we get all of these groups, all of these, like these entities? How do we do that? I mean, what do you think? I mean, it's not so easy as just, hey, we're just gonna have a meeting. I mean, what do we do?
I would love to jump on that question.
Please jump.
This is what I love, and this is what we're here for, you know. So the way you do that is you pay attention and you get heard. So the part of paying attention is looking at this list and recognizing what needs to get done. We have a ton of capacity between all the members just here in this Zoom meeting right now. So the amount of outreach potential that we have is incredible. So just the people in this room, if they told 10 people, we would have statewide coverage. So it's really the amount of impact that this group could have, as far as like talk to 3 organizations, you know, and make sure this message gets out in 3 forms of media that you know, that kind of thing can be gigantic. I have a personal platform that I was on is don't take credit. I'm not nearly as worried about AFMA getting credit for this as much as I am it happening. So we can stamp everything as AFMA, or we can just have our inner circle knowing that we know how to get together, we know where our resources are, and we can feed ourselves through each other. And then we go out and we make sure that everybody knows farmers markets are safe, farmers markets are happening, grow your food because you can sell it, you know. So I think that AFMA can support it can be the backbone for a really solid movement. So then places like Cooperative Extension can also spread that once they learn, and folks at the Division of Ag can spread that as everybody comes to their office and they interact with people, you know. So all of this can easily get spread through all of these partners that we're listing as we, but we have the network right here. So AFMA can be a really great backbone for a really fast moving monster.
And to be fast moving, you've got to get your message concise. So Kyra had like 4 statements that was condensing and making that message concise. And so as soon as we can agree on what that concise message is, then we can concentrate on that concise message and get it out. Kyra, your 4 statements, they had to do with farmers markets are safe and they're going to open, or what did you say?
I don't know.
Well,
yeah. Okay.
It was in that ramble part.
Yeah. Farmers markets are safe. Farmers markets are going to be open. You can sell your food.
Yeah.
Those kind of ideas.
Yeah. And that there will be local food because there can be production. Because the weather does and doesn't cooperate all the time. That's just a given. But there will be production. So, you know, we just, figure out that little message because it can't be too big. And it doesn't need to repeat Alaska grown, because Alaska grown is a message. We already know that. This is something bigger and different and new. So each community could either rebrand their own newness, or it could be an AFMA little campaign that we distill to the whole state. But that's exactly what I just love you, Kyra.